Boom. Welcome everybody, mate talk time. I have my mate with my AO water thing, yes. And I'm hoping you have something really nice to drink. I have a feeling this might be a bit of a longish mate talk. We're combining two things that I love, perfume and movies. Movies has always been my first love. So this is a new concept that I'm looking forward to unboxing. Let's see how this goes. At the end of the conversation on perfumes and movie in this case, there will be a few announcements. One is that the promo that's currently running will end this week. So if you've been meaning to do it, you better do it. Two chances to win. One is a full bottle of the Electric Woods Extrait, and then Olfactive Traveler, new fragrances coming out. I'll tell you more at the end. Membership, what is that for the channel? I have a NFC Discord if you'd like to be a part of that. I'm planning something, a town square meeting, I'm calling it. So if you want to know more, I'll tell you at the end. And the last one is I'm part of a summit, an online summit called Second Half Strong. And if you'd like to know more about that, then I can explain more at the end. But I want you to see this. Welcome everyone, Marcelo is my name. I am the niche fragrance collector, and today I want to be sharing more about beautiful smells and activating our nose. Sometimes we put a lot of emphasis on sight as a sense or our hearing, but in fact, if we couldn't smell, our lives would be black and white. I know mine would be. Whereas when you activate your nose, all of a sudden, your life becomes in technicolor. You begin to appreciate the things around you. As humans, we are super judgmental. In a nanosecond, we make judgments of others. Perfume is the mystery of you. Someone could look at you from a distance and go, I don't like, I do like, or I don't like the shirt, I don't like that he has no hair. But then when they come close to you, they're like, whoa, is that you? I'm smelling something divine and something unique and beautiful. Is that you? And that has happened to me multiple times. Always was very aware of my sense of smell. I could always detect things really quickly. And for me, perfume is the MSG in my life. It not only enhances experiences, so I select a particular fragrance to do certain things, go to activities or whatever it may be. It enhances that. Secondly, a beautiful smell in the world, for me, is a gift. So if I can introduce a beautiful smell through my perfume, and I know that sounds very arrogant, but it's not meant to be. A beautiful smell in the world is glorious. I mean, I do a double take. Whenever if I'm walking past somebody or there's a sillage, it makes me happy to smell someone else having a beautiful perfume. There's joy in the world as a result of that. And then the last part is that it locks in memory. So if there are people that you love and you care for, to remember their fragrance is something that, you smell that again and it brings them back to life again, essentially, or the memories of them. I mean, I look at photos, for instance, and I can, because I purposely use fragrance to enhance this memory aspect, this olfactory element of it. And I look at photos, I can smell what that was like, or I can smell like I'm there again, which is something that I love. Now this has moved on to two things. One, it actually motivated us to create Olfactive Traveler. That's the essence of Olfactive Traveler, and that is the sense of travel around, this one fell out. The sense of travel as you move around in different places of the world. For me, every part of the world has a smell. I did mention, for those who might be new to the conversation, that as we were building this, it took us a long time to create these fragrances, but as we were building Aroma, for instance, the moment I smelt it, and so we had done a few iterations, we were now with Luca Maffei doing the next sort of round of experiencing the fragrances, and the moment I smell it, it's on camera, so it's not even an imagined thought. I'm like, this is it, this is one, this is Rome. I could see all of Rome light up and be present for me as I smelt this particular fragrance. So smelling is for me super vital and super important. Now this now leads me into this concept here, which is movie scents. One thing that I do, super nerdy, I see something, a scene or a movie or a character, or someone says, that's a beautiful perfume you have on. recently talked about Double Indemnity and how he comments on her perfume. Instantly, I'm like categorizing what kind of fragrances she would be wearing, you know. So the assigning of smells to a scene or movie is a very common thing on my part. The first one that I want to kick off with this movie scent concept is The Shining, and this for me is an absolute classic when it comes to cinema, and then when it comes to the Kubrick as a director, the different performances from all the actors. It's a horror film, but it's done in, I find, and I say this respectfully because I know a lot of people love modern day horror films. I find them a super bore, you know, because it's just bloodfest, and it's all jump scares, or it's, you know, or it's overtly just evil. It's just like, okay, I get it, you know. It's like, and I always wonder where you're going to go from here. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. But anyway, whereas The Shining is something that it deals with a whole bunch of different themes. And at the end of this, I'll do the review first, and then at the end, I'll add my little 2 cents to this whole thing, because The Shining is a movie I have watched like a million times. Can you hear that bird? That bird wants to be part of Mate Talk. So what I want to do today is I broke up different parts, the characters, I've assigned them a fragrance, and I do want to point this part out, and that is that in no way are these scary fragrances. So they're not like, it's not like if you spray them, you're part of a horror movie. But this is just a little bit of fun to go, this scene here, I think smells like this, or this character smells like that. So this is what we're going to do today. Have a little bit of fun. Now let me start off with, so before I go any further, one last point. When The Shining first came out in 1980, it didn't receive a great response. Stephen King came out very publicly saying that he hated the movie, that it was so different from his film, from his book, and all the rest of it. A lot of people thought, I don't get it. You know, well, how is this a horror movie? It's so slow and so almost meditative. The greatest horror film ever created. And that is my call. This is the greatest, and there are so many layers to this film. And at the end of this, I'll break up some things. If you haven't seen this movie, I'm going to spoil it terribly for you, but it's okay. I do want you to stay with me, because this will enhance your movie experience. There you go. So the opening scene is quite, is ominous, and sets the mood for what this movie's going to be about. You have a very intense soundtrack with this like chanting happening in the background, quite eerie. But it's the landscape that takes takes you by. You fall in love with. And the landscape becomes a character in the film too. There's many different scenes where you see the Overlook Hotel, and then how seasons are changing and how they're moving deeper into the winter. One thing that is very clear is that this is the Colorado Rockies. That's the location that they're in. So it is a mountainous, it is a deeply forested area. There's lots of water. So I'll show you as I'm saying this. Lots of water, there is snow and ice. And I remember when I started to come this, instantly before I even assigned these fragrances, I already knew Himalaya was the fragrance that represents this area. There are scenes where they come out of the hotel. This is even after the opening scene. Come out of the hotel, and they're all in jackets and everything, and you can almost feel the briskness in the air. There is a crisp element, even visually, to the scenery. And for me, this is Himalaya all the way. I did a blind smelling with Elias one time, and the moment I sprayed, his first response is, "Ooh, I'm picturing snow. I'm picturing cold and cool air," and this is exactly what this fragrance evokes. I find that this fragrance here, for those individuals who love green Irish tweed, this is its close relative. I find it's somewhat similar to green Irish. I've got this bug in my throat, it just will not let me, so it won't release me. So green Irish has the the mossy sort of spring water going across like through a brook, and it's sunny and it's shiny, and and there's greenery around. Whereas here, you're still having that watery effect, but it's now it's like a glacier, and so you're seeing now more ice, and it's cool, and there's coolness in the air, and this is what this fragrance does really, really well. Woody, aromatic, cold and sharp on the opening, but then when it dries down, it does go a little bit on the more aromatic side of things, the more sort of like a lavender and things of that nature. It's a beautiful masculine fragrance. So I can't see, in truth, a woman wearing this, and I'll explain a little bit more why I feel so clear about that. This is a fragrance that a man can wear, or a man wears, that attracts a female nose. So Green Irish Tweed, I find when I'm wearing it, and I've also noticed this on others, that it actually attracts other men. So Green Irish Tweed is a really confident maker, very, sort of aromatic. It is a bit of like an alpha dog sort of, or an alpha sort of scent profile to it. Whereas I find that when I'm wearing Himalaya, and I have also discovered this also with Nelson, my son, he actually mirrors the same comment, and that is when he's wearing it, he gets a lot of response from his wife. She's like, what? When he wears Green Irish, she's like, yeah, cool, nice fragrance. He wears Himalaya, she gets a lot of response. He gets a lot of response from her. And the same thing happens with me with Sandra. And I've also, like, if I'm wearing it, other women are also making comments like, oh, lucky fragrance, beautiful fragrance. So I forgot one of the fragrances today. So here's the very point to accentuate that. I went back to the house to collect it. I had already sprayed this and another one. So I had two fragrances on me. Sandra was quite, I don't know, maybe 50 meters ahead of me. And as I walked in, and she's like, wow, that is beautiful. Which fragrance is that? I mean, I can smell this. She's like, there's something in there that I really, really like. And I thought, okay, well, I've got two. And I said to her, what about this one here? And I'll tell you about that. She's like, ooh, don't want that one. And smelt then Himalaya. And she's like, oh, that's gorgeous. So Himalaya has the ability, and she actually sent me a text, and I'll send you that the photo or the image, saying that Himalaya is the one that she really enjoys. So for a guy wearing Himalaya, like there's thumbs up. And sorry, I feel like my brain is a little bit off. I don't know why. I'm not flowing in my conversation like I normally can. 5 or 6 hours when it comes to its staying power, and then when it comes to its projection, I find that it's a moderate. So it fits very comfortably in that moderate, has enough push, has great presence, I feel, and that's the scent profile that is in this atmosphere that is surrounding the Overlook Hotel. One of the key characters is Jack Nicholson, who plays Jack, and I'm going to say this is the best performance of his life. So Nicholson always had the ability to, oh my gosh, today is really like a twist his face, conform. It's not conform, it's boom, this is a word here. And he's able to be so expressive in those eyebrows that he does, he gives it a devilish sort of feeling to it. The thing that I love about his performance is that he plays these different personalities sometimes even in a scene. So he goes from being this husband and father who is almost non-present. And I wrote here, he's there but not present. And there's almost like the lights are out. Whenever he's with Wendy, his wife, and Danny, the son, there's almost like he's not present, like he's somewhere else, like he's like an empty man. Then when he is at the bar and is having his drink, he is gleeful, playful, he's fun, he's energetic, he's witty, he has this sort of charisma about him. And then as he is the murderer, he's almost, he's possessed but bumbling. He's not efficient. He's almost like, I really love that it's not, the character is not just a single rendition of a person. That it's quite complex. It's really, he plays this in such a diverse way. You can see that he is slowly being driven into madness, or slowly going into madness, to his own detriment. And I've got a theory on this whole film and the closing shot, for those who've seen it. But what's he wearing? One thing about Jack is that he is a recovering alcoholic. It's made very clear. And also, there's one part in the scene where he says, "I'll give my soul for a drink right now." And that's when the ghosts begin to appear to him, and he begins to see these ghosts more clearly. So what's he wearing for me? And this was an easy one too, I thought. The best boozy fragrance that I absolutely adore is Notturno by Fusciuni. This has a very spicy, crisp rum opening with this pineapple note. For me, I get a pineapple note, and I get this, and it's a juicy, so it's super playful, it's fun, the night's about to begin, going out and, you know, just enjoying what's gonna be out there. The rum is very, very distinct. It's very clear that this is a rum note that's in that opening. As the fragrance migrates, it does go into more typical male, old school territory. So this is one of his earlier ones. And it has this wonderful, for me, wonderful touch of animalics, very woody, smoky sort of incense that's there, but not church-like in any way. There's like a spiciness going through it. And it's sublime. I was wearing this the other day. It was my fragrance. It was a cool day, like today, and I had doused myself. So one thing, normally I only spray 3 times. I find that with Notturno, I like to spray 4 to 5 times, and man, I smell good. It's a scent profile that has this, walks this fine line of being divine when it comes to that boozy, but also a little bit, not dark and sinister, but a little bit darker. There's a little bit of a dirtiness, a dirty edge to it, which is what I enjoy. I find that I get, let me just write here, so yeah, it's woody amber, yep. So I find that I get 7 hours without a problem, and its sillage projection is moderate into the low. So it does start off nice and strong and pushes around, but then it comes back, never goes into a body scent, so never goes too low. It stays in the moderate, but as I said, it does shrink as it dries down. Cool weather, going out of an evening. I would say even I don't wear it as a summer evening fragrance. This for me is my as I said, cool weather, a cool evening, a going out fragrance, a day-to-day fragrance. It all works really, really well. And I wrote here, sorry, early love. It is absolutely early love. For me, this is Jack all over. There is a sense of dishevelment from the man. There is one scene when he wakes up from the dream that he has where he's chopping up his family, and the look of bewilderment on Jack Nicholson's face is gold. I mean, that in itself should win an Academy Award. The look of, you know, where his hair, and he's startled, but it's like in a coma or some sort. Just a brilliant film. And sorry, it's a brilliant film. And this is an awesome fragrance that you would enjoy with Jack. I'm going to stop. I'm going to take a little break because my brain is literally cooked. I don't know what's going on, but I'll be back. I'm back. I think as I stopped, I was chatting with Hannah. I think maybe I'm too excited. That's what it is. And I like this as a concept, but I'm just already looking or projecting into the future and seeing this episode not resonating with anybody. Nobody's watched it. And everyone going, I don't get what you're trying to do. Have some fun. That's all I'm trying to do in case those questions did crop up in your mind. I also, as I said, this is what I do. I just love assigning perfumes to a situation, to a people, in this case here, to a movie. This is not the first time I've done it. And but this is the first time I'm doing it formally, like, you know, movie sense, and trying to create something out of it for fun. Anyway, I'm going to keep going. Let's see where this lands. You know, let's see what the future holds. The character of Wendy, Shelley Duvall, I absolutely adore her performance. When the movie came out, I think she was given like a raspberry, like the Golden Raspberry Award or whatever it's called. which I thought was very cruel because she is really incredible. The balance between being a feminine woman, because she is always a nurturing mother to Danny. She's also a very feminine woman in the way she dresses. So she, you know, she's a mother and a wife, and I remember when I first watched the movie, my heart broke for her, to being tortured in the way that she was by Jack, and this madness, this slow simmering descent into madness that Jack begins to demonstrate, and also her desire to protect Danny. Throughout the movie, one thing that I did notice because as I said, I watched it again, is that she is forever, her emotions are constantly on the surface. She's forever like on the brink of tears, and there's a part where like she locks him in the cool room, and the way she sobs, the way her body actually, I mean, one, she's either an incredible actress and I did hear this, that Kubrick actually put her through the paces. Stanley Kubrick was quite, I guess, brutal, perhaps, not physically, but the way that he tormented these actors to get this performance from them. Shelley was really under fire, and I think if it is, because I've seen her in other things, and she plays a similar-ish character, whereas here, that vulnerability that her natural self, mixed in with this determination to stay alive and to protect her boy, Danny. Honestly, her performance, again, gold, best performance of anything. I also love the fact, I wrote here a note, and I'm gonna be cool now. There's a movie called Kimmy, and Zoe, Mike, what's the singer? Lenny Kravitz. Zoe Kravitz. I'm telling you, my brain is cooked today. Anyway, Zoe Kravitz. I like her as an actress. She's fantastic. But don't watch the movie Kimmy. It's horrible. I love Steven Soderbergh. I think he's an awesome director. But this movie is terrible. And what I think is the problem is that you have the character in Kimmy who is vulnerable and dysfunctional and not able to cope in real life. And all of a sudden she becomes this ninja, Matrix style, Trinity, you know, badass kind of, and I'm like, it doesn't make sense. I mean, how can you go from that to that? So Shelley Duvall's character remains in this very, very fragile, very vulnerable, very battered sort of person, but she steps up, she fights through her fears. And like that one shot where Jack is axing that door, and you can feel her fear. You can feel, but at the same time, her determination to stay alive. I'm telling you, best performance, just incredible. Her performance in this film matches Jack Nicholson's when it comes to intensity and believability. Because again, I dislike films that all of a sudden the character just transforms into some ninja superstar. And you're like, how did that happen? You've displayed to me all along that you can't do this, and now you can. It doesn't make sense. Now, what is she wearing? One thing that is very clear throughout the whole film is that she's forever smoking. So cigarette was going to be an aspect for it. And the one fragrance is when I went home to collect is, and also her femininity. So she's a woman, a mother, and a wife. And so Jasmine is what she's wearing. But that cigarette smoke is definitely lingering somewhere within that. There was this fragrance house, I don't know whether it still exists anymore. I know that they used to have like 50 plus fragrances. It's been culled back to next to nothing. This was one of those fragrances that they had in their original collection. The house is called Atelier Cologne. They used to have great fragrances. And this one here, Jasmin, Angelique, if you can find it from somebody, I would recommend it to you. I even went as far as, and I don't own it, but I did have a sample of it, and that is Jasmin et Cigarette by Atelier d'Orange, my French, and is a no. So Jasmin and Cigarette, whilst it's a beautiful fragrance, is not this great balance that Wendy is wearing of Jasmin and Cigarette. So here it's very spicy, or the Jasmin and Cigarette. Beautiful fragrance, I said, but I don't own it because this one here does the job. This is Sandra's fragrance. I smell this and I'm smelling Sandra. It's her, she calls it her grown-up jasmine fragrance. There are more notes. There are notes, rather than an indolic jasmine or a very playful sort of feminine jasmine, the jasmine here is present, so this white floral is very present, but it also has an element of this hay-like, this earthiness that sort of comes through. And there is a touch of the, like a female sort of feeling to it. I love it. And again, look, the reality is this is a fragrance Sandra loves to wear. I love smelling it in the air when she is wearing it. It does, for me, it does balance between that femininity, but also with a little bit of a dirtiness because of these you know, hay-like or cigarette scent profile. There's no cigarette smoke, there's no cigarette as an accord in there, but the way the notes play, it does give you that sort of feeling to it. And I think there is incense in there, but there's no incense smokiness from it. Boom, 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 chicka, chicka, boom. It's intoxicating. Actually, I wrote here it's intoxicating. For me, I can see Wendy, the character, wearing this fragrance. You know, so if anything, she's wearing a jasmine fragrance, but because she's forever smoking, the smell of cigarette or that extra sort of scent profile is definitely part of her personality. All right, good fragrance. If you can get your hands on that, I'd recommend it. Big time recommendation. Now, the next one is Danny, and this is the young boy. Again, another one where best performance of his life. And I always wondered how in the world did Kubrick get this young child to express so much emotion in all these shots. I mean, just watch the movie just with your focus being this young boy. And it's outstanding how he can convey so much in all the shots. I also thought, how does he, you know, not get sort of weighed down with the horror of it all? But of course, everything is shot separately. The director, I did watch the making of the documentary, and Kubrick is talking to him. It's very light, very airy. And he said, "Okay, now Danny, just give me like you're really scared and you got and these big eyes." Anyway, when it's now put into the film, forget about it. It's like, oh my gosh, you see the horror through this child. And I think that's what it is that I love about this character, is that as the audience, you're now living it, you're living this experience through Danny, and you're seeing for the first time the effect of the horror that is coming down the line. And it's just, yeah, you really live it through the character of Danny. I also love that this child, and I wrote here, was able to blend a mixture of wonder, you know, like a child, the world around you, a mixture of trust, because early on you find out that his father was quite physical with him. There is almost a sense that there was some kind of not abuse, but you know, family violence sort of thing. So there's still a trust with the parents. There is this childlike innocence about him, and there is this, I don't know, this rawness from this little guy, and he does it, like, again, does such a great job. For me, the scent profile really happens early in the film, because once they get to the Overlook Hotel, it's the Overlook that dominates the scent profile, and I'll tell you what that would smell like. For me, it's when they're in the house, and it's the smell of his room and the bathroom, and that scent profile is Love-O-Matic. This is, and again, I go back to Wendy. She's a good mother. She takes good care of Danny. You could tell that the way he's dressed, and he's always, you know, you can see the care even in his room, the little things that are sort of, and I realize it's just a film, but what I'm saying is that this is someone who cares for the child, and Love-O-Matic is this beautiful, clean laundry smell. So people who love this, you know, that musky, clean laundry, ozonic, slightly aldehyde. You can't quite put your finger on it whether it's floral or not, but it's just clean, mixed in here with a mixture of blueberry and strawberry. And it has this very gentle fruit touch, not realistic, it's not intending to be. It's just this slight sort of fruit element that sort of opens up and then lingers in the background. I wear this as a summer fragrance. and it's just magical. Sandra likes, so she loves the smell of clean laundry. There is another fragrance. Here it is. I forgot the, I can't remember. Here it is. This was created by the Flair girls. This is Anne-Sophie's fragrance. And Sandra loves this fragrance. Just cannot stop wearing it. I smell clean laundry. Sometimes I smell clean laundry. I'm like, oh, has Sandra done? And then I'm like, oh, she's wearing the fragrance. So I like this one here, Love-O-Matic, because of that fruit twist on the opening. Very subtle, very playful. There is almost, and again, going back to Danny, the character, there is a sense of innocence in the scent profile. It's not too sharp or anything of that nature. Great, boys, this is a great fragrance for a man to wear. A woman, super easy to wear, fun fragrance to have. And I find that also when it comes to sea agent projection, it's about 7 hours on skin with a moderate. It does have nice push, but a great is a summer fragrance. And that's Danny. Danny and the room and you know, being in his home. All right, let me just wrap it up. So the last two fragrances are about the actual location. One is the Overlook Hotel. This is a major force throughout the whole film. And technically it has its own entity. I mean, there's multiple shots of the exterior of the hotel and it looks ominous. You know, we're looking up at it and the feeling that something's going on in here. I also love that geographically, the Overlook Hotel, you can't quite map it. Even people have gone to the extent of trying to map where all the rooms are and how does it all fit in. There's also which I love, these black and white photos scattered throughout the walls, and it creates a sense of like, what is this about? So it demonstrates this long history that this hotel has had. We also know that the Overlook Hotel was built on top of an ancient Indian burial ground. So technically there is this otherworldly spirits that are sort of pushing itself forward through the actual building and creating the havoc that it is. So it's, you know, it's housing all these entities, these ghosts, and this feeling. The opening shot when Danny is still at home in the bathroom, and he's talking to his friend Tony, which again, another one. How did he had bounces between him being Danny and then the voice of Tony. He sees for the first time why Tony does not want to go to the Overlook, and he begins to see what the future holds and then what also the past held for this property. And you see these ghastly images, you know, and the music is just incredible. It really sort of takes you into the scene. So when they arrive, the Overlook smells like the dry down of LüBu. And it is a warm, ambery, vanilla touch. There is a sense of discomfort. There's something that doesn't sit right, but you're just, as you're in the Overlook Hotel, you're dismissing that because the fireplace needs to be clean, or maybe there's a musty smell coming from somewhere else. But you can detect that there's something else lingering in the background that shouldn't be there, because what you are detecting in the now sort of more present is this vanilla and amber and slightly creamy effect. And that's what LüBu does. On its dry down, and this is now 5-6 hours deep, it has this very restful place with these vanillas and this ambery touch. It's a beautiful fragrance. It's a beautiful fragrance to wear as something that can create, that becomes a statement maker. That you now, rather than just do a standard, I don't know, gourmand or anything of that nature, LüBu creates a different sort of feeling to you. Like, not that you can't be trusted, but definitely that there's more going on than what meets the eye. As we discover, as the film progresses, we find out that the horrors that have occurred within the Overlook Hotel, the murders that have occurred, the ghosts that are present, the blood that comes out from the elevator, and that is the opening of this. The underlying, I guess, core theme to LüBu is this blood note, this coppery sensation from the fragrance. It's quite startling. When this fragrance first opens up, you're like, what in the world? Plus it mixes it in with a clove note and this sort of gunpowder metallic effect. Honestly, it's a wild ride. If you want to know more about LüBu and how this fragrance opens and moves. Have a look at this production here. This is a fragrance that I absolutely adore. If you want a statement maker, if you want something that is very poetic in the sense of, from an artistry point of view, it's not for everybody, so just be warned that this is not like the other white like the other fragrances in the white collection, which are gourmand, vanilla, and just super happy. LüBu makes a statement, and if you can see the color, look at that, look at the redness of this thing. The juice is glorious, like poof. So this is the Overlook Hotel. This one here, yeah, it creates a beautiful statement. The last one, the ghosts. The ghosts have an entity. The ghosts have a presence. I mentioned in the recent episode that I did for Nudiflorum that for me, whenever the ghosts are present, it's Nudiflorum that you can smell. The most apparent place, or the most sort of clear place where this occurs, is in the gold room when Jack walks into that 1921 scene, this sort of very Art Deco 1920 feel, where they're celebrating the 4th of July. And the scent profile, I still remember as I was sort of watching the film, this is going back a little while, and I'm like, oh, Chanel No. 5 would have been present because of the year that it was. And then I'm like, but there's something dirty in there. And I thought, oh, Nudiflorum. Nudiflorum does this beautiful balance between being a floral fragrance with this jasmine, but it's not indolic, but it's green and white floral, but then it has a feral nature to it. For me, it's floral and feral that are intertwined, the two. And I actually, in the episode that I created here, I did say that it was the beauty and the horror. There's one scene with Jack where he goes into room 234. Was it 234? Anyway, goes into the room. And a very beautiful woman appears to him. He's, unbeknownst to him, he doesn't realize who this beautiful woman is until he starts to kiss her and then realizes that she's actually an old woman, which is a ghost. And this basically, it's the beauty and the horror. So you see it and you think, oh, that's a beautiful thing, only to sort of peel back a little bit and realize that there's something quite dark and intense. And for me, that is Nudiflorum. The scent profile, the balance between these florals, and it's like, no, I'm a good guy. And then it does this twist, this weird sort of leathery, animalic, feral nature to the fragrance. For the longest, and there it is, that there's something, and I really can't pinpoint to say it's this. It's it's because of this particular note. But there is this balance. Maybe again, and I'm funny how I get this slight dirty cigarette sort of smell. Oh, I did say that in the video. I did say that it was an ashtray with red lipstick. So there you go, it gives you the mental picture. So between the two, white floral and cigarette, this is, if you can find this, I would recommend it to you. Great fragrance to have. Okay, there it is. How did that go? I'm already anticipating, that was terrible. Anyway, you know what? Sometimes in life you got to roll that dice and then see what comes out of it. Maybe it could work, or maybe it doesn't work. But you know what? We gave it a go. That's 6 fragrances that how I see The Shining. Tell me if you think this is a good idea. There's so many more films that I'm, assigning fragrance to, with characters, with all that sort of stuff. I would like to make it something more of a thing, and I do want to support this with my Discord peoples to do something there where we can combine ourselves and sort of elaborate further. Because movies is one of my early passions, and a good film is something that I'll go out of my way for, and I watch it like repeatedly again and again and again. So let me just tell you some quick things for those who were like, yeah, The Shining, that's an old film. That's it's had its day. The Shining there's so many layers going on, and for those who have seen it, the one question that I'd always ask myself is, how is that Jack is in that photo in 1921? So, and also when Grady sees him, he says, "You've always been the caretaker." And what does all that mean? So some of it is cryptic in the sense of like it's meant to make you think, but again, with Kubrick, nothing was accidental. Just as a side note, one that is forever being in conversation is when Wendy and Jack are talking, he's at the typewriter, and behind him, the chair and table appear and disappear. And you think, what's that about? For me, so for these things, and there's a few of those different things that happen. For me, it's Kubrick trying to unsettle you visually. The music is there, doing a great job to sort of leave you a little bit like I don't feel too comfortable here. Some of the angles and the way that the shots, the scenes are shot, it does make you feel a little bit uneasy. But things like that, subliminally, you're going, something's not right. Something is not right, and you can't quite put your finger on it. I started saying something, I got distracted. That was, I forgot. The 1921. So why is it that he's in that photo? And I think the message here is a lot, this is me now, okay? This is me now going rogue. The message here is a lot deeper. So this is why this is not just a horror film. This is really about humanity, and when we as humans choose not to change, and sometimes I've heard this from people saying, this is who I am who I am, and that's who I am. When we refuse to change, even though the world is giving us opportunities to become somebody else, or to become better, or to refine ourselves, then we continue to repeat these mistakes again and again and again. And so for me, that closing scene that Jack has always been there is because his soul, so almost like a reincarnation, his soul has been trapped within this environment, and he has been rebirthed as a new person, but continuing to do the same mistakes, because his death occurs again at the Overlook Hotel. So his soul goes back into the very place that he's trying to escape himself from. It's interesting too, because there are some scenes where you could see that there is a hesitation on his part as a character to not deliver on killing his family, because that's the essence of it. Even to the point one of the ghosts say, we all feel that your heart's not in this, like, saying, are you committed to doing this thing? So you can see that he's trying to fight against himself, but in the end, he succumbs to, I guess, his own failings, and ends up dying once again at the Overlook Hotel. Movies, they're the best. I'm going to stop. I'm going to do the final part to this, and I'll be right back. I do look forward to hearing everyone's comments. For those who have watched this episode, curious to see what your thoughts are. Good idea, bad idea. Do we elaborate more? Do we go, that's enough. I'm glad you tried something new, but let's not go any further. If you did enjoy this and you thought, that was a little bit different, I mean, how many people are doing this? Nobody, and probably that's why, because anyway, if you did enjoy this, I'd love you to subscribe, because it would be an awesome support to the channel. I would also love you guys, if you did like this, hype it. Scrub across, put a hype on this baby, put a little comment, and that also helps along the journey. Now, the promo that we've got running will end next week, so I normally film Mate Talks on a Tuesday, goes out on Thursday, so if you're going to send it to me on Wednesday, it'll be too late. So it's now till Sunday, Monday at the latest, okay? To win this bottle of Electric Woods from room 1015, all you got to do is put Mate 200 or the emoji in 200. This gives us a chance to see who you are. You do need to be a subscriber, so that's the only catch. So as long as you're a subscriber, we can tell there's a red dot next to your name. So as long as you're a subscriber, then you'll go into the draw. Now, if you happen to do a photo and tag me, nfc.perfumes on Insta, I will then push that forward, but now you'll have 3 entries in the actual promo. So if you just did the Mate 200, that's 1 entry. Do the photo and you get 3 entries, and you'll also go to win this too. So if it lands on you and you only got 1, this is what you'll get. But if it happens to land on you, you've got 3, then you'll win both of these things. Now, what's in here? So Olfactive Traveler is the brand that, as I mentioned, created. Perfumer is LüBu, the celebration of 3 cities, Milan, Florence, and Rome. And it's really about embracing Italy, essentially, and celebrating Italy. I mean, we've got a bergamot that is a unique bergamot from an organic farm in Calabria. We have an iris that is unique to the Tuscany area. There's only 500 bottles of that, so this is a super unique product. Now, in about soon, I won't put a date just in case, we are releasing 2 new fragrances. So you'll win this. Inside here will be one of the fragrances, and I'll reach out to you as to which one you would like. And in the other 2 spots will be the brand new fragrances, 2 new fragrances that are coming out. And also that one there, we're celebrating another Italian. So this is the final part to our Italian story that we want to tell. So make sure you enter next week. We're done. The promo, I'll spin that wheel and we'll see who wins. Now, the other thing I'm also going to spin another wheel, and that is for the members of the channel. Now, to become a member, it costs $4 for Aussie dollars, so super effective. Next week, when I spin the wheel, somebody will win or get a chance to win a pack. I'll put together different samples of things that you might like. So you tell me what kind of fragrance you're into. I'll then put in a whole bunch of different things so that you can go out and explore. These are all samples from the company. So I don't decant anything of that nature. And that's basically what I'm trying to say there is you keep that top note, because when you're spraying, you release that top note. So here are the actual scent profiles that are created by the actual brands themselves. The other part to it is if you become a member, you also get access to our Discord, and there's an NFC Discord, and that'll give you a chance to connect with a whole bunch of other perfume lovers from around the world. Now, the intention is that this Saturday I'm planning to do a town square meeting where it's basically, it'll be like a live session together, and it's just for the Discord people. And I really want to talk about the Shining. I want to unbox it more. There's many more different theories in here, but I thought I'm going to stop because otherwise, I don't want to create drama. The last part, so anyway, become a member. It would be awesome to have you as one of our members. The last part of this is the summit that's coming up. Now, this is going live in a couple of weeks' time, so there's a little bit of time left. If you do want to subscribe or do want to join in and receive the content, I do believe a lot of it is for free, so there are some memberships that you can buy to have access to this content out for a longer space of time. But if you're just going to sit down and watch, you'll get the full itinerary of what it is. I'll put the link below, so that way you'll give you a chance to jump straight across to that particular summit. I will be on that, so I'm part of the panel, so I'm very excited to be part of that. I'm a big believer in this, that sometimes we put a lot of emphasis on the young, but us old people, we also need some emphasis too. And you don't want to, life is long, enjoyed all of it, So yes, it was great to be a young person or a teenager or whatever it may be, but life can also be great as an older person too. Anyway, boom. Thanks everyone. Hope you enjoyed that. A little bit different, something a little bit unusual. I look forward to your comments. Hopefully there's not too much brutality in the comments, but if there is, all right, it sets a really clear parameter as to, maybe for the future. Maybe I refine this, maybe make it a little bit different. We'll see everybody on the next episode. Bye everyone.